Hey guys, welcome back. It's Coach Ryan and Coach Danielle here with you, and one of our lovely participants in our 12-week Empower weight loss and coaching accountability coaching program. It's Holly Eves. Hello, Holly. How are you today? It's good to see you and all your success. Great big smile for you there as well. Holly, would you tell the masses a little bit more about you and your current situation and kind of what you've tried in the past before getting on this program?
My name's Holly, and I'm a mother of two older children. So my youngest is 27, my oldest is 29, and they don't live at home. And I'm a teacher, married, and 57. So I would say I've been paying close attention or doing my best to not put on weight over these years. But when menopause came along, certainly things got a little more challenging. And I had tried a number of things. So I've been in boot camp for a number of years, summers only. Always wanted to do full time, but didn't get convinced to do that until COVID. I was trying to work out at home anyway, and I needed that accountability. Just somebody live on the other side was good. It's too easy in a video. When it gets hard, it's like, maybe I'll stop a little early. So I decided to go full time year round with Ryan and Danielle during that time frame. And I've also joined, 2 or 3 times, Ryan, I've been with you on 30-day resets, or I can't remember what you call them.
The challenges.
Yep. Throughout that time, I've tried, I've been vegetarian at periods of time. I did do intermittent fasting for a while. And during one of those resets, Ryan, you were like, it works sometimes, it doesn't work sometimes, but I needed to figure that out for myself, what was working and not. And it was this program that I stopped the intermittent fasting at the beginning of the program and decided to eat pretty much 3 meals a day and just make them well balanced. And the program, I didn't overhaul anything. The only thing I did probably most different is start eating breakfast.
Which is huge for so many people. We see it so often where people coming in and whether they're fasting because they're doing intermittent fasting or because they think taking in less calories is going to yield them a weight loss result. And in most cases, yes, that is the whole premise behind it. But in the same time, when you take that and you starve yourself for that long, your body goes into that starvation mode, and therefore your metabolism is very low, and any foods that you do take in, you wanted to explain a little bit more about that?
Well, yeah. So your body's going to hold on to that energy. But I think in Holly's case, a lot of times that, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, Holly, but when you then did start eating again, it wasn't always the best quality, right? So you fasted, but then you were probably hungry or needed to get something in. And I know you're a busy teacher too, that has, limited time during the day. So the quick stuff to just,
And
so I think that was a big change for you
happens
too,
with
if
so
you want to
many
touch on
people
that.
when it comes to that length of eating or not eating, and then they get hungry, and then it's like, I need to grab something that is the closest thing to me, easiest thing to me, and generally those aren't the best sources of energy for us.
Right. That's true. I was overdoing trail mix. So the mistake I was making was I was getting it on my way home. Like
Healthy in most of our minds, right?
Right.
And no one's saying it's not, but like you
But
said,
it's
when
very
you're
high
doing
calorie. Yeah. And you can only eat a quarter of a cup, really. I mean, for the appropriate amount,
Right. Yep.
calorically. But I was opening the bag and just saying, I'm just gonna have a little bit to get my hunger under control as I'm driving home from work. And then next thing I know, like the whole bag would be gone. So I was consuming probably a lot of that. And it was that period, that time of the day. Yes, I was getting hungry because my first meal was lunch. And then I was very hungry between that 3 and 6. And I am busy and I can't always get to food. I do like the Lara bars. And those are smarter for me because
Mhm.
they're gone, right? A bag of anything is bad.
Right.
Chips and things like that at home. Yeah, grabbing like some tortillas and things like that also. So those
Yeah.
things definitely changed.
Yeah, and so much of that has to do, and we see this so much where people are coming into the program, or they lack the discipline, they say, or they lack the willpower, or they don't know, they know what they should be doing, but they're not doing it consistently. And that's where the accountability daily comes in for, you know, everybody on this program, is where it really helps to hold you accountable to the goals that you want. Where before you're just going home, you're chomping on that Chex Mix, you're eating and eating and eating it. But now it's something we have to take a picture of and submit that to us on a daily basis. Say, hey, you know, not only are they going to see it, but then I have to see it as well. Holy moly, I can't believe that I'm eating 4 times the amount that I should be. And most people will say, well, trail mix or Chex Mix homemade, that's fairly healthy. And they'll say, I eat fairly healthy, right? And whatever that means. But maybe it's cases like that where we can pinpoint certain things that a lot of people don't realize they're doing it on a daily basis, and it does affect the results that they want to get in the long run. And in this program, we don't tell you that you can't have foods that you enjoy, or that aren't deemed overly healthy. You should be taking those things in, but we want to make sure we control it. So it's one thing to say, okay, I'm going to have a serving of it, but when I have 4 servings of it 4 times a week, that can be a huge effect for somebody.
Mhm.
So the accountability, Kylie, will you talk a little bit more about how the daily coaching has helped you, or really opened your eyes to some of the changes that you needed to make?
Yeah, the daily the pictures of the food has been really helpful, in the units. So your modules that we're doing. So that you put something in our mind for the week. A lot of things I had worked on in the past, like
Yeah.
sleep. But really, most of my tweaks came in food, in the daily coaching. When I submitted in the beginning, towards the beginning, Danielle, I think I was talking to you about
Never know.
adding greens. I never know. It was about adding greens. So I'm somebody who's not supposed to have a lot of the dark leafy greens because of a kidney thing
Yeah.
that I have. So I absorb that calcium oxalate. I don't dispose of it as well as everybody else. So having a conversation with Danielle one day, it was like, I think somebody said more greens, and I'm like, I have to balance that now. I can't do it the same way I used to before. So I would always add spinach to my smoothies. So we had a quick conversation, which was extremely helpful, that really spinach was higher in that oxalate than the kale was.
Yes.
So I went out and bought a big bag of kale, and I'm integrating that more because I didn't realize the difference there. The doctors are just like, just stay away from all leafy
Right.
greens. And I'm like, really? That
It's a whole
doesn't
food group.
sound right.
And it's probably the most beneficial food group that you can give, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
So,
Yeah. So that was a specific instance. And when I went through that list you shared with me, Danielle, there are other things, like, so I do use almond milk, and that oxalate, those are in almond milk too. So I didn't realize almond. So I might tweak my milk
Mhm.
so that I can maybe do like more kale and less
Yep.
of the almond milk. Maybe go back to the Ripple. That's a good suggestion. Your family uses and would work probably for me. So daily, and then the portion control was actually a big change for me, the balance and the portion control. So trying to get the half a plate of greens. And I don't know why it was such a revelation, but Danielle and you kept throwing up pictures of how you're just throwing a whole bunch of stuff in the refrigerator and just making a meal. And that's what worked for me. So the planning was a huge problem. I think it was something I couldn't get over, the
yeah.
thought of making meals and portioning them out, and
It's
having the
stressful.
repetitive nature of it. It's stressful.
It's a lot of extra
I
time.
don't grocery shop like that because of time and whatnot. So what eventually became apparent, it was just such a small tweak, but so powerful. My lunches became more balanced and healthier.
Mhm.
And I think that's also why my hunger later in the day I don't have that problem anymore. So I got a little bit I've got the greens and the protein and the, the carbohydrate of some sort. So those things, now I can just throw stuff
Yep.
in, and I'm much happier. I was too low on the fat in the beginning, because I don't use dressing. I kind of use that a ruby red sauerkraut. It makes it adds
Yeah.
nutrition without, and flavor without adding dressing. But I did run into a problem where I think I was too low on my fat
Yep.
for a little while. So I tweaked that, and the fat, adding that little bit of fat also helped with the satiation later in the day.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, so many
And-
people are afraid of fat because of what we've been taught in the past, especially, through dieting and, whatnot. It's not, it's a important source of energy for our bodies, and definitely needed in the right amounts, right? So
Yes.
eating that whole bag of trail mix, yes, there's healthy fats in there, but it's probably a little too much on that end. And there's other ways to get that. So
And that's the benefit of the program, is that we can personalize it for you. Now, this is we have both a personalized aspect to this program, and of course, on our coaching calls, the group aspect, which is really, really great for support and hearing other people's stories and successes, and then sharing that on a weekly basis. But that's a perfect example, Holly, where we're personalizing the tweaks for you to get you what you need on a daily basis in real time, so that you can make those adjustments and then start creating these habits, which now you will not have to worry about losing them for the rest of your life, because you've been doing them from weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks. And that's something that you're going to continue, obviously, within the maintenance program, and then even beyond that. So you don't have to worry about this for the rest of your life. Now, we talked a little bit about how, a lot of people, you specifically said, how, I'm not good at meal planning, or it stresses me out. So many people are like that. And so many people think when they have to make a change that they have to spend 3 to 4 hours on a Saturday, 4 to 5 hours on a Sunday to plan this all out for the week. And who the heck wants to do that? Now, there's very, very few amount of people that want to make that time, and then want to actually have that time to do that. But you don't need to do that. And so much of it, like you said, Holly, is these what people are saying, simple or small tweaks, but it's things that we know that we're just not holding ourselves accountable to on our own consistently. So talk a little bit about how the program was not, as you mentioned, an overhaul to your life, and how you can make these changes without having to stress yourself out or overhaul your life.
Right. So really, those subtle changes in my eating and exercise, I'll talk about that too, because the daily exercise advice or reminders are also extremely helpful. But on the food, all you have to do is make a little bit more wild rice, and have a box of greens.
Mhm.
That's a good tip.
Make a protein, and that might last you 2 or 3 days. And so you don't have to spend a ton of time cooking the protein that you'll need for the next days, but at least you're thinking about it. And overnight oats are another thing that this one I tweaked on a prior program, but just really, I don't know how to say this. So the accountability piece, there's enough of a push to get you to realize, like, I didn't even want to plan at night. I just wanted to do my work and go to bed and whatever. But for just a minute after dinner, throw some overnight oats, some oats and some milk, and let that set overnight. And you're just grabbing that in the morning and adding a little protein, and you're good to go. It's about integrating these very small things that take no time at all. Just
But make a
tiny
huge
bit of
difference.
forethought, not gobs of planning, So I would say those are types of things I overcame some resistance.
Mhm.
Resistance is good physically, but mentally I was being resistant, and it was through the coaching and the daily accountability that was making me realize, why am I thinking about it this way? It was just enough of a tweak for me to make such a minute change that I was like, it just flowed better in my life. It's woven in better than
A good word. Yeah.
a major tomorrow I'm going to start doing this. Whenever you do that, the tomorrow I resist doing it. I don't that
Yeah.
way.
Well,
Um,
it's because in the mind for many people, and so you're not alone in that. It's a big to do the next day because they're thinking they have to do so many different things. And what I love about what you're saying, I can see it in your eyes. I can see it the way you're talking. Think about what you just mentioned in the last 2 minutes in speaking. All of these things now you are ingrained into thinking about and considering because you've created these habits, and they're not going to leave your mind at any point to where these are with you for the rest of your life, which is so important. We talk to so many people about how they've struggled for years and working on their own, trying to lose weight, but they keep on doing the same thing over, and they're usually short-term practices and things that don't relate to the real world. Everything you've mentioned here, which is so cool, and what we love about teaching sustainable practices, is that these are things that we're challenging you on or hold you accountable to based on your lifestyle and based on what you're willing to do and your results that you want. And now that you've got them, you've created them, like you're just giving these tips and these ideas that will this really work for you because they work for you because you've created them now and they're not even a thought anymore, which means it's not going to be an overhaul. So, I mean, this is so great to see you talk about it. It's really, really neat because you have so many things that you've created now. And we don't even have time for it all to even explain more. But
Now, have you ever felt deprived whatsoever since you've started?
no, I think in the beginning, so I had kind of cut a lot of sugar out. I'm pretty low sugar. I have a weakness for cookies. So
me too.
I don't have that stuff around the house. So with Christmas and the holidays, actually it made me pause joining this program in the beginning because I'm like, ooh, really? Thanksgiving and Christmas? Am I going to be able to do that? But on the other hand, I was like, ooh, I could use that accountability to work on those habits through Christmas and maintain them on those days. So I still have, when something comes across my way, people like to help teachers or make them feel good by giving them chocolates and cookies and cupcakes and all this stuff. So sometimes I go through the faculty room and I'm like, ooh, that's hard to resist. So I would say I lost my train of thought a little bit.
Well, I think the key to this
I haven't felt deprived. I was thinking about depriving myself, but then I didn't through your encouragement.
So if you want to go to that break
the whole
room and have
own
that,
it thing. Yeah.
if you want to go to that break room and have that cookie, you own it. You go
Right.
with it. And as long as it's not 8 cookies, because that's gonna definitely throw you off. And we talk about consistency in the program in terms of 80%, 20. And we should be working in these things that aren't deemed overly healthy consistently enough to where you're not overly craving them. You know what I mean? Have that cookie on a Wednesday. You don't want to have 6 of them on a Wednesday, 8 of them on a Thursday, but you have them on a Wednesday. And then again, maybe again on a Saturday. You know what I mean? Like you should be able to have these foods because it's life, right? You mentioned this time of the year. Well, this time of the year comes up every year. So if you can create these sustainable habits this time of the year, think about the confidence that you're going to have throughout the rest of the year and then next year to be able to continue your success. And there really isn't a non-busy time in our lives, really. So it's always good practice at the most quote unquote challenging times to do it. So kudos to you for making that attempt. And then of course, obviously having great success for that. So thank you so much, Holly, for being with us here today. We truly, truly appreciate you sharing your story.
We're so proud of you.
Yes, and we're looking forward to continued success with you as you move on in the maintenance program. So thank you so much for your time. Love it. Congratulations. And we'll be talking to you throughout the day today. All right.
All right. Thanks. Bye. Have a great day.
You too.